Welcome to PK Woodworking and a redo of the doors that I started to do with the shaper kind of incident that happened a month or so ago. And so using a back fence this time and slowing down the power feeder pretty significantly. A couple of safety features also added from Einer. These are pieces that keep the power feeder positioned exactly how you want them away from the fence so it can't move when you're doing what you're doing. I also decided to make the stiles and the rails thicker than I did last time. This is going to be a really big door. It's oversized door for sure. White oak's going to be pretty heavy. So I decided to change from doing 3/4 door to inch door. So these are 25 millimeters. Well, let's see how this goes. Now, I made these slightly over 25, so there's a lip currently on it. You can see on this top part. I'm just going to sand all of the parts down to the appropriate thickness to get rid of this before I do the other cut. And I think it's still going to be more than thick enough. I didn't want to really push it any further because I'm slightly over 25 millimeters and the cutter is supposed to be made just for 25 millimeters. Done with this part, take off the back fence, put on the other part of it so that I can do cope cuts, and then we'll be ready to roll. Actually, let me give you a little more insight into this. So I built these with some kip levers I got pretty cheap. Let me go ahead and raise this up so I can get it over the kip levers and then show you like how I did it. I don't know if I'm righty, tighty, lefty, loosey, but anyway. When you got the kip levers, you have to raise this to get it past the kip levers to swing it out of the way. Duh. So do I have it high enough? Yeah. So there we go, out of the way. The kip levers are on these little T-nuts that I had inside of the bed. I'm just keeping them at that level. And then I'm gonna have to find a way to lock these on the back of this when I store them. But you can see I've got these two T-nuts that are installed so that this can just pop on whenever I want to. And it's good to go. Sanded all of the pieces down to get the lip off the top with the white belt sander. That puts us at 23.7 millimeters, give or take. So it's going to still be a thick door compared to where we were. And if you're the inch person, then it's 0.93. They came out great. There's like zero chatter, anything broken off. Like it really machined well compared to the wood that I had before. So I'm getting the shaper set up to cut the ends, and then we'll be ready to roll. Hold, please. This is the first attempt at the cope cut. I'll kind of show you what I've got set up for like the process here and get it a little tighter. Okay, so this is the slider, right? So the slider has got this on it. What I've got is the tenoning plate on it. I've got the fence that you put on the slider, and then I've got max airtight clamps. So I've got a clamp that clamps the piece down, and I've got a clamp that pushes the piece back against the fence. I've got a sacrificial piece behind it that is maybe not as wide as I want to, but I'm doing test cuts right now to see if we're close or not. So we'll kind of, you know, see how that works out. So let me get this started. We'll go. So in the attempt of me being so excited about safety, I had this down a little too low. So let's do it one more time. I think I came pretty close. Let's see how close I am here. Man, that is pretty close. I'm in here. I think I want the cutter up just a tad. 0.1 of a millimeter. Sorry. Okay. I'll cut this off and we'll run it again and see how close we get. Didn't mention, by the way, but you have to run these down. We may have to put a spacer between one of those discs. So I've decided to shim the top cutter by 0.12 to make the part that I guess the tongue of the cope a little thicker so it fits better. So let's do that. This is the shim, very thin shim. And I probably should have wore some gloves for this part, but here we go. Not much is going to require to make this work. So you don't want it too tight because then no glue can get in the joint, but you don't want it too loose either. So let's see how this goes. I think we got this all together. Okay, yeah. That is about as good as it gets right there. So we're gonna go with that. Figure out the width of the doors, all that kind of fun stuff, but we'll mark which ones are gonna be the rails and the stiles, come back. Okay, I did some math. I want the doors overall width to be 33 and 3/8 wide. They're gonna be 36 inches tall. So I don't need to do anything to the stiles because they're gonna be 36, but the rails, obviously you need to cut down. The actual width of the rails and the stiles are 2 and 3/8 apiece. When I do the math, it comes out to 1 and 15/16 from the inside of the cut on the joint. So I'm assuming I'm going to be about 4 inches short of that. So I'm going to shoot for 30 inches for these. I'm going to do all the one end, and then I'm going to come back, cut one of them, and sneak up to the size of the door. So I'm going to have to do these over. The backer piece isn't tall enough, and it was letting some stuff get blown out. So I'm going to cut these all square again, put a bigger backer piece in, then we'll shoot it all again. Okay, fresh, clean piece, same dimension. That I like better. No blowout. Okay, so again, you got to run these parts down. So on the other side, it's possible there could be a little bit of blowout, but I don't guess we're going to find out if it does that or not. Yeah, a little bit. So a 32 wide over there, making that cut makes it 35 and 7/8. And that's really big considering I need it to be 33 and 3/8. So I need to remove, I'm gonna take 1.5 inches off of this. Okay, I've cut this down to, I think, 30.5, but I think I've done the math on the backside. I'm almost positive it's gonna be 29.5 when I'm done, but let's see how this works out. Perfect. Okay, you can see I've got these all done now. I'm just gonna stick them all in here so that you show that they all fit appropriately. And there you go. So anyway, 2 doors. Now I know the dimensions. I'm gonna change the cutter, take all this stuff off that I've put on it, and then I'm gonna run the panels. I have to trim the panels to size, and then I'll run the panels. Now that I know what size the panels are gonna be based on the inside dimensions. Time to take all the stuff off the shaper. we go. So we're only going to go in like 8 mil, which is that part. And that part is 6.0. So let's see how that lines up on this. I mean, I would say that's like, ow. That's like right there. Panel came out great. So let's see how it fits. I like how it slides in there. Definitely gonna have to get that to go. Now the panels have to have beads in them, so that'll take up some of the space. So you always run end grain first so you don't get a blowout. And it seems to be fitting great, so we're gonna let it rip. We're gonna sand up the panels. Then I'm gonna show you that I put the little rubber parts in each one of the rails, and then we'll glue up. So. Now let's put these little rubber pieces into the stiles and rails. So these spacers are kind of important to make these things work well. If you don't put these in, then you're just asking for trouble. I usually put in, like, for this length, I'd probably put in 3. And you kind of push them in. This keeps the panel centered and hopefully keeps it from flopping around a lot inside of it. Oh, we dropped one. And then the same thing for these. This is going to be a little different though, because I'm going to cut these down. So I'll put them close to the edge, one in the middle, close to the edge. I just don't exactly know for sure how far I'm going to move them up. They make balls for this too. And there's a machine that inserts the balls. It's like $700. I could use my finger. Okay. So now on this particular door, because it's such a wide panel, there's a bit of a warp to it. When I true the doors up, square them up, I'll cut those ends off. But that centers the rail, I mean the panel, pretty much perfectly. So all I gotta do is put some glue in, clamp them, and do the other one too. So let me get the other ones, little things in, and then I'll set it for gluing one of them. Show you that. Pretty simple. Take a side off, get the glue on it, put the other side on, glue on it, and then we'll give her a clamp. So I kind of know that I don't need to put a ton of glue in here, so I won't. You don't really want to glue up the panel. I mean, in there, that's not the point of it. So let's not. What I do want to do is whatever I've got left over here, I'm going to put on this to make sure I get a little glue on that too. Probably should have done the same thing over here. I've got it marked with some pencil to know how much I want to glue. And then get some on here. Then I'm going to get it on board. Okay. Got those done, glued up. Some key learnings. Supposed to have a glue up strategy. I really wanted to do it on my barth table, but I had something on there already. Thanks for watching through the redemption of the shaper incident, of which all started with this particular rail and stiles, and now they're done. And they came out beautiful. I'm super excited that I decided to do them over a little thicker because I think it's going to match the cabinet so much better. So again, I appreciate you watching PK Woodworking. Hope you have a great day, and get out in your shop and build something.